All right, we're live. Mike, we're live. Welcome to Comic Book School Live, the craft and business of making comics. I guess, Mike, we lost the musical intro and we just are suddenly live, which is pretty awesome. I'm very excited about it. We have a great guest tonight. We always have great guests, but we have a particularly great guest for so many great reasons, and we'll get into it tonight. We're going to be talking about how to fund your Kickstarter with my friend Jimmy Palmiotti. But first, Mike, let's give a little bit of the lay of the land.
Oh, here we go. This is hang on. Let me find my applause here.
Your part.
This is the thing that I'm supposed to do now. I'm introducing us.
Tell them who we are.
There's me, Mike Fasolo, 3-time Emmy winner, 2-time Annie winner, writer, Robot Chicken, blah blah blah, lots of stuff. Oh, need some applause. There you go.
There you go.
Okay, that's really loud.
That was a little loud. Okay, now go me.
Now we go for Buddy Scalera. He is an award-winning comic book writer, an educator, and a marketing technologist.
You think at any point in a few years you'll just be able to know that without reading it right off?
I don't think so. I mean, I definitely know marketing technologist because I don't actually know what that is, but
I'm not even sure what that is.
It sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome. Okay. Let's get into the next part. Bring our guest on, Mike. Mike, please welcome our guest and our friend, Jimmy Palmiotti. Give him all the applause.
There he is.
Do the applause.
There we go.
Hey,
there we go.
Hey guys. Look at that array of work.
Look at that array of work. Jimmy Palmiotti is a multi-award winning writer, editor, creator, and I would say entrepreneur. He had a hand in building Marvel Knights. He wrote long runs on Harley Quinn and Painkiller Jane and Jonah Hex. He wrote on the Painkiller Jane television show. He launched Daredevil, Ash, Punisher, and quite frankly, a lot of careers. Jimmy is known as the mayor of comics. He is beloved by all. Mike, give him another round of applause, please. I think it just needs to go here.
Thank you, guys.
Jimmy, you've been a great friend to me in comic book school over the years. Every year we would do the show at New York Comic Con, and you were my Hollywood guy, right? You would talk about Hollywood. Now you're my Kickstarter guy because now you're the entrepreneur around Kickstarter.
You know, you just have to keep rolling with whatever they throw at you. But
yeah,
it's you don't know what's going to happen next in this business, and Kickstarter just came out of me experimenting with some other ways to try to sell comics. So
well, it's working, and we're gonna get into that. We are ready for a
fun time. Yes.
Fun time. Hello, Victor. Victor, welcome.
Here we go.
Back.
Yep, Mike's always on top of these things. Yes, as always.
Some of our regulars, Jimmy, they always weigh in. Okay, so Jimmy, we've got a lot to cover tonight.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about Kickstarting, and but I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the fact that you pretty much single-handedly gave me a career by gifting me a run on Deadpool. So thank you for that, Mike. Give him a sound effect or something for that.
You did ask me if you can write it, so sure.
Do you know?
Let him do it. That's the
how
big
many
thing.
different languages we've been reprinted, and that's the Italian version.
You mean they give them to you? Because I don't get any of that.
No. I go to comic shops. That's the Spanish version. That's the German version. I pretty much just go to comic shops and
pick them up.
I go, do you have my? And they don't care. They're not interested that I worked on it. I even had to pay for this. I'm sure.
Oh, you know what? I had to write Marvel, and I think I wrote David Bogart or one of the guys up there, and I said, "Hey, man," I'm like, I got a year's worth in there. Can you send me one? I had all of the ones I have to request them. They don't just naturally send them over. I have to ask. I have to send an email and go, hey, I know you guys are busy and everything, but really you're going to make me pay for this? And so that's my way of guilting a bunch of people that I helped in their careers that they're nice enough to return the favor and send me a book.
They must have done something different because I just got that in the mail last week.
What was that? What is that?
This is the Agent X stuff that I did.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I got this just last week. Mark McKenna got it the same day as I did, and I was like, "Well, that's interesting." No check or anything, just a book.
No, they have gotten a lot better with the movie stuff, like giving me credit for things and sending me out once in a while to premiere and stuff like that. They've gotten a lot better. It is the business of the squeaky wheel gets the oil kind of thing.
All right, here we go, Mike. We're going to get started with the show tonight. We've got a very interesting topic. We're going to talk a little bit about crowdfunding, but first, what is crowdfunding? Well, crowdfunding is a way that modern creators have been able to utilize each other, their fans, their friends, their family, to help fund a project, from comics to video games to books to movies. Things are being crowdfunded all over the place. Probably the biggest and best known is Kickstarter, and one of the places where many different comic book creators go to either partially or fully fund their project. Jimmy Palmiotti is with us tonight. He's actually kicking off his crowdfunding on Kickstarter tonight. We'll be talking about that, showing that, and I think by the time we are done with this conversation, I believe, Jimmy, you will have already funded if you haven't funded already.
Well, we're going to see the power of your show.
Yeah.
Our 12 viewers will push you over the top.
I doubt it very much. You might be disappointed. Jimmy, you have created 23 projects, and you are proud to say you have delivered on all of them.
Yeah, that's that. I've done actually more because I have the Palmiotti one than I have the Paper Films one. So it's two different. I have two different pages, but it's like 25, 26. Whatever.
Well, it's pretty incredible. You have funded all of them, and one of the thoughts behind this episode was the fact that you talk frequently about how when creators do not deliver on time or deliver at all, it gives a bad name for everybody. And I thought this would be a great foundation for 3 great tips that you're going to be able to give tonight.
Sure. If I can remember what they are, I know I wrote them down for you, but
don't worry, I put them on a slide for you.
Terrific. Thank you.
All right. So,
my first tip that's not on the list is, and it's not on the list, but if you're going to do crowdfunding, make sure you have a lot of family members, cousins, brothers, sister-in-laws. Like, if you can't get your family, your own family, to back your Kickstarter, you're probably not going to do very well. So, I always say have a lot of friends and family, because they are going to be your lifeline in the beginning, especially because a lot of people start from nowhere, right? They haven't even, some people haven't worked for the company. They don't have a name, So it's really important that you have a supportive people around you. That usually comes down to you not being a dick so much in your whole life, and them wanting to actually, support what you do. But this is a thing that it's not in our list, but I add this all the time. I'm like, make sure you communicate to the people in your lives how important this is to you, and make sure they're a part of your campaign launch.
Mike, you got to cheer for that?
What was that?
Mike, you got to do the applause for that.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I got like 6 buttons here I got to push.
Well, you got 10 fingers.
Jimmy, I think I did. My Kickstarter was 2 years ago, and I think the first 50% was funded by family and friends.
Right, and it's really important because, like I said, those people are your life, right? Those are your lifeline. I mean, if your friends aren't supporting you, you're doing something wrong, is what I'm saying. You don't need a ton of friends. You just need a couple of good ones,
Which ones?
I have like a lot of acquaintances, but I have a couple of good friends, and no matter what I do, they're always there making noise for me. And so it's really important. It's also important, if you're doing Kickstarters, to support other Kickstarters. And I will say this a million times. If you're doing your first Kickstarter, make sure you back like a bunch. The worst thing that you could see, if somebody has a Kickstarter and they says they haven't backed any, I probably won't back them. Because if you're going to be in the game, play the game. And show you support. I try to back
a little money around, right? Just
I mean, listen, it's even if you're just buying the digitals, it's showing that you support these people, right? So it makes a difference. Sometimes I don't get a chance to back some people's stuff, but I do retweet it and I do post it on social media. I don't always have all the time I want for things, but it's really important to do that. And it does help when people ask me, because then I can remember to do it. Because a lot of times I have great intentions. I wake up early in the morning. I'm like, oh, I gotta back that. Gotta make sure I back that. And then something shiny's over there, and that's the end of that thought.
I think you were my first backer when I kicked off my Kickstarter. So I appreciate that.
I got your back, buddy. You know that.
I know you do. All right, here we go. So,
okay.
So we got this. So we got Kickstarter tips from you, Jimmy Palmiotti, and
Just the tips.
First, we want to know a little bit about Deep Sea, which is your active project. I took the screenshot just before the show. You were at 9,000 towards your 10,000 goal. You'll probably blow right past that during this episode.
Yeah, I mean, the money's good, but I look at the people, the backers.
All right.
Like the money is, I get it. We have to hit the goal, but the backers is the important thing to me. How many people are backing it? That's what I look at every campaign. Everyone else looks for money, but the money's deceiving, right? Because somebody can go in and just buy the digital for $10, and so it's very deceiving. But backers is the key number. I want to get that up to like 500 or 600 every time.
Now, what is Deep Sea? Oh, hold on, Ken.
We got a comment. Good old Ken Hazlitt.
Yeah, Ken. So Ken is Ken's been backing him forever, and he's one of those guys that he not only a really good person that backs my work, but he's actually a great guy. I see him in San Diego. He's you get lucky if you're in this business to know some great people down the line. He's one of them. So but anyway, what were we talking about? I'm sorry, buddy.
All right, you're going to tell us what Deep Sea is about so that you can set it up for us.
Okay, so it's all ages, which might disappoint some people, but it's a story. So I've been fascinated with anything since I'm a 60s and 70s kid, right? So I grew up watching TV and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and sci-fi shows and all that kind of stuff. This is basically a story about, it takes place in the early 60s, and it's about these deep sea divers that are going to go to the deepest part of the ocean. They finally built this ship that can go so far down into the trench, and it's about these 5 explorers that are going down there, sort of like these really like just they do anything. They're like these. What is that comic? I'm trying to remember it was a DC comic. What's that?
It's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
No, there's a DC book where it had the 4 characters. Oh God,
Challengers
the Unknown. So it's a very like nod to that in a way. And what happens is, so the day of the launch of the deep sea diver, the deep sea explorers, one of the crew gets injured right before they goes down, and he can't make the trip down. And his 4 friends, including his girlfriend at the time, they go down, and he has to sit up topside while it goes down. Anyway, something happens, and they're not able to get them back up. And then our story takes place 40-something years later. We see the guy that was left behind, and he gets a call, and they say, "Listen, we finally found the ship, and we need you to come investigate what happened on it." And then they fly him out to the ship, and basically it's a little bit of sci-fi, fantasy, and romance that happens after that. So it's just they uncover what the mystery, what happened to the explorers, and it's a lot bigger than they think it is, and it's a story about our main guy, who's older now. He's in his 70s, and it's kind of. I don't want to give it away, but I will say it's one of those things where if for comic books, it's easy to do, right? Like films, you can, this would be a very expensive film, but a comic book, you can do anything, right? You could write any kind of crazy. This has got monsters, it's got crazy shit. There's so much stuff in this that's big, and my rule for comics are write it as big as you can. Never worry about what somebody else is going to do with it, because they'll just mess it up anyway. So make the comic big.
You touched into what I love, and Mike and I have an ongoing debate: outer space or undersea. I'm the undersea guy, Jimmy. I prefer a story under. We already know there's nothing in space. We would have to wait for something to come. We know things are under the water.
I mean, what we do know about space is the possibility of getting to places. It's not that we know there's nothing out there. Of course, there's something out there. I mean, the odds are with all the universe, all the galaxies, but we're never going to see it in our lifetime. If we travel at one point, if we're able to travel the speed of light and go to the next galaxy, let's say universe that's out there, by the time we get back here, it's 4,000 years later. Even though it could be only a day or two in the ship. So everything about the science about space travel is tough unless somebody's coming here to visit us and they figured out another way to do it, right?
Right. And the ocean's right there, right?
And the ocean is right there. I mean,
right there.
Interstellar, I think, was a wonderful attempt at explaining how impossible it is in a weird way, but the sea, we only have, I think only it's 14% of the seabed in the world is mapped out. I think it's under 20% of it. And that's a lot that's not mapped out. Okay.
Yeah, it's big.
It's big. And if you follow any kind of science news, anytime they do deep, and again, now diving is the same thing, right? Because if you go as deep as Mount Everest, let's say, you can't take the water pressure. We can't take it. We have to send robots down and everything like that. And even when you're swimming and you're diving, there's a point where you can't go just back up. You have to fight to get back up because of the air pressure and all that kind of stuff. So, we don't know. I mean, the great thing is every year they're discovering a whole new species of, animals, or they're finding ships are attacked by things that are bigger than anything they've ever seen, and they can't explain it. I think there was an incident last year with a squid that took out a part of a ship's it was the communications dish that the ship had on the bottom, and it just almost crushed it, and they couldn't figure out what animal it was, and they're thinking it's either a giant squid or a giant octopus. Just almost ripped the thing off, but they have nothing of note that they know that is that big to do that kind of damage. So there's a lot to explore out there, and for writers, that's it's wonderful. That, like, to me, anytime. Look, I even like Sphere, and Sphere was stupid, in a way, but I liked the movie Sphere because I was like, I'm actually going into inner space. I'm actually going into the ocean. The Abyss was a great, when the final one came out, it was a good thing, and this has a lot to do with those movies in a weird way, because there's the idea in Deep Sea is that there's a part of the Earth that we can't go near that holds its own secrets, and and that's where a little bit of the story has to do with the actual amount of time passing somewhere that deep, as opposed to what happened the time on the surface. And that's where I say it's a love story, because we're dealing with somebody that lost their love 40 years ago, having to deal with some stuff that happens, and that's the mystery of the book.
Well, we're gonna keep unpacking it. Let's jump into this. So within here, you've shown some of the artwork, which is stunning. This is Tony Atkins.
Atkins, yeah, and Paul Mounts.
And Paul Mounts, of course, yeah. The color raconteur, Paul Mounts.
It has a very retro. Tony has this Tony's known for his work he did at Vertigo and Fables and all those books, but it has a pretty retro kind of look to it. And I wanted Paul to color it I wanted it to be fantastic coloring, not to make it too literal, but all blues and blue and blue. I said, but throw in colors, make this thing, make it while we're down there, we get to see stuff that is kind of cool and wild, and at the same time, these are creatures coming out of the ocean. It's a big story with a that's such a cool page you did there. I wouldn't even I draw, but I wouldn't even know where to start looking at something like that. I look at that, and and Paul did a really good job on it. It's pretty. I think that's the word I was looking for. I like a pretty looking comic.
Yeah, well, the colors that Paul chose, it definitely didn't limit it to what you would traditionally expect for water. But let's jump into your first of 3 tips. Right. Jimmy, read out your first tip here, and then we'll dive into it with a few examples.
So you have one chance with your Kickstarter. That the idea that somebody's going to click on your link is. Are they buying it for your name? Are they buying it for the artist's name? Are they buying it for the art? Are they buying it for what the story is? of course, we want them to say they're buying it for all of that. Are they buying it because they backed other Kickstarters of yours? You have to communicate what it is you're offering. In this, it's a graphic novel. It's funny because I went back and thought about this, and I looked and I said, oh, I don't even have the page count on my pitch, and I was like, look at that, I didn't communicate that, which I'm going to fix tomorrow. It's a 52-page book, but communicate what you're offering. Let the people know that it's a graphic novel. For this one, it's a graphic novel, has a beginning, middle, and end. There is no part two. This is the whole story. Communicate
let's jump in here because because give you a piece that you can work with. You broke down all your sections.
Yeah.
You gave the very clear. The left navigation says everything you need to do. You have your story breakdown, and you even noted. So you've got all your rewards over here, but I want to zoom in on something here. I didn't know that this was originally published by Dark Horse and that this is an expanded edition. So
yeah, so 24 pages was published in 3 issues of Dark Horse Presents. And for some reason, they went and collected it into that comic you see on the top, the Deep Sea, the Deep Sea. And they collected it, and I was like, you guys are just trying to milk money because it's not done. Like, the story was never finished. So that story has a cliffhanger in the middle of it, and I was like, I got all the rights back, right? I got all the rights back. And I said, okay, now I'm going to call up Tony, I'm going to call up Paul and see if we can finally finish this story, So it's another they're done in chapters, 8-page chapters. The book is, as you read it, it's done in 8-page chapters. So we went in, and for the past 2 years, because Tony has to do other work, we kind of worked on this thing forever. Tony finished, it's all done. Like, I'm doing this Kickstarter. Literally, the minute the Kickstarter is over, I go and press the button to the printer and say, give me this many copies, right? But for me, it was like, maybe you guys will understand this on some level. I want to finish the things I started. And this was an opportunity for me. I'm like, okay, it's going to cost me a little small fortune to pay these guys to do this. But I also made the goal for the Kickstarter 10 grand because I'm like, that's what it cost me to pay everybody. I don't pay myself. I never pay myself on my Kickstarters. That's always later on kind of thing. But I paid my guys for the original page, to the new pages, and for the coloring, and then the covers I had to get from Dave Johnson and Amanda and Tony and so that's why usually my goals are higher. They're usually like 28 or 30 something. This one I made 10 because I'm like, I feel if I can make the goal and finally get the book out there, that's like one less car I need in my garage. I could move it out and I could get on to the next thing. I was so happy to work on this because the ending, Justin and I had a view of what the ending was going to be, and we couldn't wait to do it. So when I pulled the trigger on this, I said, all right, Justin, let's finish this the way we see it. And I said, because I always saw it as like a romantic adventure with monsters in it. And it has a very emotional connection. When you read it, you'll get it, because it's about a guy who thought he lost the love of his life, and then something happens, right? So anyway, back to what we were trying to talk about. So what I'm selling, it's pretty clear. It's called Deep Sea. We're gonna go deep into the sea. That's pretty obvious. There's characters. There's some artwork. We see there's some stuff going on. There's some octopus grabbing a girl. The story is basically as basic as I could make it. I even put in the bottom, if you're drawn to stories like Abyss, Sphere, or The Thing, it will resonate. This is good to do because of communicating to an audience that it's sort of like that feeling. I think all 3 of these movies had the idea of whatever you think it is, it was something else. The mystery of what's at the bottom of the sea, or in The Thing with the mystery of what's in that flying saucer. And it has, an otherworldly kind of feel to it. We're on Earth, but we feel like there's another world encroaching on what we're doing. And so I think it's good to have the comparison. I think it helps to say, it's a monster story and a high concept adventure. I just want to be basic without giving thing. I talk about that it was, some of it was, the 3-part was published by Dark Horse. So I don't want people getting upset, like, wait a minute, I have this from Dark Horse. I think it'll be the opposite. I think people be like, oh my God, now I can get to see what the rest of the story
Yeah,
is.
now it made sense, right?
Right. And thank you, Glenn, for buying it back in the day. And we're going to finish that story for you, Glenn. And it's a while ago. Yeah. And so communication of what you're doing with the money. Obviously, this one goes right into the talent involved. Nobody's getting rich from this. This is something for completists. I also think if you never read it, you're going to really like it because you get the big story.
I had never heard of this, and I'm pretty familiar with a lot of your work. I was surprised that I had never seen this before.
Well, Dark Horse Comics, I mean, every time they try to do anything that's not Hellboy or not Star Wars at the time or whatever, it kind of gets thrown into, we go to comic shops, there's 300 comics every month, available. So anyway, back to the original question. So you have to present it, you have to sell it for what it is, you have to try to hook people with the visuals. Again, this is all important. This will get the people to click it when you put it on social media. Make sure you have a good visual. We have the Deep Sea logo. We have the talent's name above it, and then the paper films below with some cool art. Everything is about selling something to somebody. So somebody looks at it and goes,
"Let's get it. Let's get in there," because okay. I feel like I know what's coming, and I'm not giving you a chance. So in number 2, we're going to show more of the art. Give us tip number 2, Jimmy.
Okay, so find the audience for subject matter. It's sci-fi. It's a little romance. So you find the audience by talking about it, right? You talk about what it is about. You show some pictures from it, whatever. I post a lot because I realize when you're on Twitter, you can post your thing 4 times a day and people still won't see it.
Yeah. That's right. And that's a really important aspect. People are afraid of overposting. They're like, I'm going to drop one tweet and then nobody sees it. I posted about your appearance 4 times today, and each time I got a different set of eyes.
Yes.
Over here, look at when you're doing these. You're August 21, August 19, August 29. You're the day before, the day of. And I think what you do extremely well is you stay in people's feed. And you mix it up, you show different art. There were so many great tweets, but I think you were showing them that this is a sea adventure. The logo, I don't want to criticize the Dark Horse logo, but not for anything, but this logo didn't speak as much about the sea, whereas this one screams the deep sea.
Right. That's a good, Dave Johnson did that piece too. It's beautiful. But yet you need to communicate the subject matter. So I'm going to find people that like sci-fi. There's a romance part that I'm going to push eventually. But the next thing I'm going to push is the monsters, which is the panel where they're all on the boat there, right? We're seeing the monsters and stuff like that. Because I have the whole book, what I do is when I post the links, a lot of times I just post panels. I pull panels from the book. For the next month, you're going to see maybe all the panels if you want to take your time to take 800 things and put them together. Sometimes I put the panels without the lettering, and sometimes I put them with. It depends what it's giving away in the panel. Sometimes it gives away too much information. But my thing is, I got to think at least 4 or 5 times a day I have to post it until it's over. Okay? Because I can't tell you the day it's over, I have a guy go, man, I didn't even hear your Kickstarter. And he's like, and he's posting every day about other stuff. And I realize that part of the social media, same thing with Instagram, sadly, is that they want you to pay for the advertising so they can get more eyes on it. So when you don't pay, they only put it in certain places, right? So what I have to do is at some point I have to make some videos where I talk about it because that'll get a different kind of audience. But it's constant. It's constant for the whole Kickstarter. It's a tough month for me because I've been, other than my Deadly Tales of Gunslinger, I've just been working for the past 6 months, right? So all of a sudden I have September, October, November, I have 8 books coming out, and I'm just like, oh my God, it looks like all I'm doing is doing 100. Some stuff was done a year ago, but it's all coming out. The Punisher thing with Dan Panosian comes out October. I have, what do I have? Blue Falcon coming out. I have, this month, I have some trade book stuff. Then I have Harley and Elvira next month, Punisher #1. I have All-Star Western Omnibus. I have, and it's just so much stuff. And then I have Daredevil 1 with Punisher in it. All these things coming out. But I have to push my Kickstarter first because that's that's my book.
Well, the thing about what you did here is, you're finding the audience, and I can see you're trying different things,
Yeah.
and you're showing what they will get on the inside, that it is not just a story about people underwater. There's a lot going on. There's a sci-fi element to it. There's a water element to it.
Right.
I think you're doing a great job of articulating what they will find in the pages. Mike, what are you thinking so far? Because I know that you have a problem with social media.
Oh yeah, social media for me is terrible. But this is something like when I see all these panels, like if I was on whatever, Twitter or whatever, and I saw all of these panels, I'd be like, okay, I have to pick this up now. I definitely got to check it out and see what's going on. Just because there's so many posts and each of the panels is interesting enough that I want to check it out.
Yeah, and you have to, thank you. I appreciate that, Mike. You have to come at it from the point of view, look, we as creators, we look at it 24/7. We're sick of it, right?
Yeah.
So we have to step outside it and go, okay, what do people really want to see? What's beautiful? Like, what can I pull a panel and then if I could do a paragraph about what it is, well, and say, hey, look, this is my new Kickstarter. This is the scene where this happens, and it leads into something I can't tell you anymore, but check out the Kickstarter. And you have to do that constantly. And I have some visuals already prepped and ready to go. And then I have the lettered and unlettered pages where I pull the panels from. Today it's heavy for me because we just launched it, so it's heavy for me to just have the deep sea logo, the one on the left with the girl, and then the one in the middle. The other ones I'm going to pepper, as we go along. But that's the one that's on the top of the Kickstarter, and that's the one that's going to be identifiable. I was laughing because I was like, it almost looks like the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, in a weird way, but like with really hard nipples, right?
Yeah, but it does have that great.
It's underwater. It's cold.
Yeah, of course it's cold underwater. It's freezing down there. But because I was like, at one point I asked Dave Johnson, I'm like, you think it should be more blue? And he goes, yeah, and I could put the thing and the Human Torch in there too. And I'm like, okay, got it. But the suits are blue in the comic, but just the way he did it, it's beautiful. Dave is fantastic. But you want this simple graphic, right? That's a simple graphic. It's just tentacles, you get it. There's ocean, the girl in trouble kind of thing is cool. And, if you look closer, her eyes are completely blank, so there's some story in there.
All right. So we move on. We start showing some interior art. I just wanted to, some of the interior art's a little grainy. We just pulled it off.
Yeah, the
stuff looks great.
Yeah.
All right. Tip number 3, Jimmy. We're going to get into this. You're going to talk about this, but I'm going to really dive into every aspect of it. So talk about your tip number 3.
Okay. So when you're a guy like me or you, buddy, whatever, we have a lot of other books from other campaigns that people never got. We also create original stuff, like some books that only exclusive to we have, stuff like that. So we want to have add-ons to the campaign. So you back the book, and then you go to this page, and there's all these add-ons you can pick or not pick. We try to make the add-ons either have something to do with their campaign, something to do with the creators, or something that we think people are going to really like, or the last part, something we need to get rid of. Meaning we have a lot of these books and we're willing to put them for really cheap just to move them out, either way, it's an opportunity for anybody backing a Kickstarter to say, hey, I like oh my God, look, this Painkiller Jane trade is only $10. Let me get one of those, or I can get that signed. So we want to make sure on the way out, it's sort of like your favorite ride at Disney. And then once you're done with the ride, you leave and you walk through the guest shop, shop, and the gift store, right? To get out, and all of a sudden you're like, I had such a good time with this. I'm going to buy this, this, and that on the way out. I look at it like that. I also look at it, I try to put 1 or 2 things in the add-ons that people can't normally buy from us. And we don't sell the original art because the original art is owned by somebody else. And I find people don't want to buy the original art. I've had original art and people don't buy it.
Yeah, I tried to sell original art on mine. Nobody wanted to buy it.
No. So it's, so original art's a tough one. There's some guys that make their whole Kickstarter about their original art and adding sketches and everything. I'm not that person, I'm also not the guy that does 45 versions of the book because I have a life and I don't want to dump all my money on covers. I get that there's collectors, and we do have a collector's level, right? Because you're buying, there's a mystery Amanda Connor cover, and it's literally numbered, and it's going to be numbered and limited. If you're into that, I always try to create something like that. Pop Kill was a good campaign to do that kind of crazy covers. But this one's but anyway, so the add-ons are extra income. These are
all right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through all your tiers, comment on your tiers, and then go into your add-ons, because what I am absolutely totally impressed with the way that you've structured this campaign. This is the digital tier.
Yes.
Start with this. What do you have, and why do you price it like this?
Okay, $10 for the book, which is perfect. It's anybody can get it for $10. It's like buying 2 comics. It's exactly that page count, plus probably a couple more pages. This digitals are very, very important to me because I have people from all over the world that can't afford postage, that can't afford. Oh my God, the shipping now is so insane, and this guarantees them in it. They get a PDF from me, a high-res PDF that they own, meaning it'll never go away. That's theirs. They download it and it's theirs forever. Okay. There's none of this crap where you subscribe and then you don't own the comics or you don't get them. They get their PDF. They get a PDF in a digital edition. I always offer a script one for $5 more. That has the entire script, and you can run it against the comic to see how it's.
It's a good learn. It's a good way to learn. I mean,
it is a great way to learn. It's how I learned. I didn't know how to do format comic scripts. And I asked some people to give me scripts, and there were some writers that sold their scripts for $20 or whatever. You could buy their script, and but it's a great way to learn. It's also cool to see how it's done and how it's written, and it just gives it's only $5 more. I always just
Mike, this is the one you need. This is what you need.
That's exactly the one that I would like to get, because then you can actually see how it's done, how it's formatted, and what what a real published comic is going to look like in script format.
And it's a reasonable price, and it's a learning tool, and you get the comic. These days,
it's cheaper than a cheeseburger. It's cheaper than a cheeseburger and fries.
Yeah,
it's cheaper.
But I don't these days. I don't want as much print in my house. I've run out of room.
Right.
I prefer a digital copy. Now the next level, you go to 25, and what we have 2 covers you can choose from.
Yeah. So this is the physical copy. This is the printing on my books are like the best you can buy. So they cost me a pretty penny to do. I treat them like they're masterpieces in a museum. So they have the paper quality. Everything is like primo. But this is the basic comic. So you get the basic comic. You get to choose what cover. I didn't really play the game. This guy costs more than that one. It's just if you like that cover, you can buy that one. If you like that cover, you can pick that one. I just want to give you a choice. The book is the same exact price. It doesn't matter.
All right, real quick. So I'm going to guess. You tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Sure.
Most of your orders are going to come in this tier, right?
Yeah, between this tier and the all 3 covers tier.
Okay.
So people want to get just the 3 covers, and that's that's their thing.
All right. So now we go to 30, and for $5 you get the signature.
Right. So $5 more, I sign the book. That's all.
Okay.
It's just for people that want to get a signed comic. It comes right from me. It comes in a bag, the paper film sticker on the whole thing. We give a certificate with each one, paper film certificate, which is a color thing with a hologram stamp on it. The whole thing. It's numbered, has a number. You can scan it. It's not a lot. It's cheaper than I charge at a Comic-Con for an autograph, but I want to give the people something personal. So if they want it signed, I sign the books.
A lot of people like the signed books.
They prefer the signed books.
They do.
Yeah, and I get it, because every time I back in Kickstarter, I always ask for the signed one. I kind of like the idea that I'm getting the creator's name on the book. I can't tell you how many comics I have signed by people, and I love it. And then if people bring me, by the way, people find me at a show and bring me an unsigned one, I sign it for them, But this is about this is about just having your book signed. You get it in the mail. It's either me or Patrick that packs it. So if you're looking for DNA of mine, it's probably on the package.
And what was the question that just came up there, Mike?
It's stickers, about stickers. So
Yeah.
We do stickers, but it's going to be one of the chase, one of the add-ons. So if we hit a certain amount, you'll get stickers.
All right, so here we go. So let's get in here. So we've got the next level up. You got the 40 and the 50. What are we talking about
Okay,
here?
so this is so Amanda. We always do a mystery cover. There's two reasons I do a mystery cover. One, people love to get what they don't see. They love the idea that it's going to be a surprise. The other thing is it buys Amanda time to do a cover for us, to be completely blunt. But she also likes to think about, Amanda's a thinking cover artist. She just doesn't do a person standing there. There's always a story on Amanda's covers. We do the mystery cover. It's limited. I don't know how many I think are in there, but it's 40 and then 50 because it's signed by Amanda and I. So we both sign it for the $50 one. It's just a special cover with her. It's limited to look, everything in our Kickstarter is limited. If we only sell 200 books or 300 books, that is all the books we're printing.
Mm-hmm.
So everything's hyper limited at that point. But these are like the special edition ones you can buy. And if you're a big fan of Amanda, we do very well with these because people love the surprise of what they're going to get.
Well, Amanda never disappoints with covers, but this is a pretty good cover right here as well. I mean, this is
that's John J. Hill does the banners for me and stuff. John J. Hill, he designs the books too, and he's no slacker. I look at that and I'm like, God, I should have made that a cover.
That's a pretty good cover.
Yeah, he does that all the time. There's chapter breaks in the story. I think there's like 6 of them, and he designed them. They all kind of look like different versions of that. So in the book, those are there. That's pretty cool.
All right.
But, the thing with John is he wants the book to look, better than everything else. That's his goal.
It looks like a mass market paperback.
The back cover has a visual like that. The back covers.
Mike, what are you liking so far? What cover speaks to you? I know that you don't see Amanda's cover yet, but what cover are you?
I like the one with the woman of the octopus.
Right.
Is it because she's cold?
It's because she's cold, yeah. And
right.
and I like octopuses, octopi.
It's like such a 70s cartoons word, octopuses.
All right, so Jimmy, what if you're going to estimate what's going to sell best at this point, the 2 variants or the mystery right now?
I still stand by the group one where they get all 3 of them.
All right, so let's jump into that because this is what we're talking about. So for 80 or 90 bucks, you can get all 3 covers. People love variant covers. It's just a fact.
Yeah, and we tried to make it so like with the $90 one, I sign all 3. Amanda signs her mystery cover. You have a full set of books. At the end of the day, it's not going to bankrupt you. But that's if you're collectible. If you're a collector, you like to have all 3 versions, and then we have them without the signatures, so it's $80. It's still a savings, on we want to make it desirable, but that's the top tier. Like that's why I said this one's not going to go crazy. It's going to go by the amount of people that back it, not about the money. If I wanted to do a money thing, I would have taken the deep sea one and I would have made 10 metal variants on the deep sea one and charged $200. I get it, and I get why certain guys do that. They want to get their numbers up and they sell 1 billion editions. But honestly, sometimes I just want to sell the comic and get the comic in people's hands. And all that other stuff, I get it. I know the retailers have a table every week of the alternate covers, the chase covers. I will say Amanda's cover is the chase cover in this set. But even so, I think for $80 or $90, it's still a pretty good set of books. They're going to look pretty. They're going to be printed beautiful. And
now, how does your distribution usually stratify? Is it a pretty even amount all the way across, or do you get mostly your upper tiers? Like where are most of your sales?
People buy the upper tier stuff. They like a lot of stuff. I do have, and we didn't announce it yet until I hit the goal. We have like we have what do they call it? I'm sorry, my brain is mush.
You said stickers, right?
Yeah. I mean, so we hit the certain amount of money, we add ons, right? We add on Like if we do this much, we'll give you stickers. If we do that much, you'll get a digital graphic novel. You'll get other stuff. The add-ons are pretty much like not add-ons. I'm sorry, they're called my God, my brain today. It's not add-ons. It's stretch goals. Stretch goals.
Stretch goals. I couldn't think of the word either.
Yeah. So we have stretch goals all lined up, right? My initial stretch goals are always up to printing, Anthony. So spot varnish. I go and spend a little more money on the printing. And then after that, it's like digital books, it's stickers, we have a bunch lined up. This is not going to be a big Kickstarter. This is going to sell to the people that have interest with it. I don't have a pair of big boobs on the cover. I don't have this is not Painkiller Jane, which has a built-in audience. This is a science fiction fantasy thing. It'll have a limited audience, but I'm happy. Like I said, that's why I set the goal at 10 grand. I'm like, I know where the audience is on this. I'm hoping along the line, doing shows like this and talking about it, we can get people that never back things or they might find interest in it where they didn't. But I also have very realistic expectations about it.
You had an itch you needed to scratch because this was an incomplete project, right? It was
Yes.
The ball was in the air. You just need to close it out because you needed to finish this.
Yeah,
story.
I mean, it's not. Look, it's you know, it bothered me. You know, my 2 Kickstarters ago, I did the 21 Down issue 13 because that was another one that bothered me. I did the whole book. It was drawn and everything, but DC owned it, and I asked DC, "Can I just do a Kickstarter just to put it out there, you know, and let me just publish it, and I'll give you this much?" And they were like, "Sure, do it." You know, I needed to get that. I need to pull that car out of the garage and make room for something new. You know.
All right, so we're at the top tier, but then you have your add-on gallery. Talk about what the add-on gallery is, and then also what I thought was very professional was talking about the shipping and the cost so that people could add up what's going to cost them. So first, talk about your add-on gallery.
So okay, well, I'm going to go to shipping first. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because shipping information, we usually include it with the Kickstarter, and you get charged right away. But they really want you to do right afterwards. So when you guys, when at least it's right there, you can read it. It says if you buy 1 book, it's $8. If you're in the U.S., but it goes. Look at the crazy numbers it gets as it goes other places, right? We just want to make that clear. It's post campaign, meaning after you back it, when you finally get charged, it's an add-on to it. We're not doing it beforehand. We usually do beforehand. They asked us if we could do this afterwards. I'm okay with it as long as people understand that that's what the charges are. I don't make money.
You're not making the money, right?
I don't make any money from the postage.
It's just a pass-through.
No, I honestly, I have to, my expenses on the packaging, the Kickstarter is, the bag, the board, the stickers, the certificates, and then the packing materials and all that stuff. That I eat. But the shipping charges are basically, this is what it costs to ship it. So I just want to say I just want to be clear with it. I post this. Patrick and I post this so people don't have any guessing games. There it is. I'm not going to surprise you, and you're going to curse at me. It's right there. It's right there in the middle of the campaign.
By the way, Andrew Campbell is dialing in from Australia. So
yeah. So Andrew, I say go for the digital. Unless you're really dying to do it, then do some add-ons, get that weight, and we'll hopefully it sucks, right? I want to go to Australia and New Zealand and make it cheaper, but the world around us wants to keep charging more for everything.
That's right.
So
you got this add-on gallery. People at the last minute. This is like at the cash register. You could buy like candy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll take these 3 books as an example, right? So Gatecrasher is a graphic novel. It's I'm not sure how many pages. It might be like 100 or something pages or whatever. It's something we did at Black Bull a million years ago, and it's a beautiful book. Amanda, I wrote it with Mark Wade, and Amanda drew it. I did the inks on it, and Paul Mouse did the coloring. It is a stunningly beautiful book. We offered it a great price. We have a lot of them because when we printed them, they printed more than we wanted. We got orders in, but Image at the time decided to print more. And so we had to buy these books. So we bought
but
them.
still, they're 20 something years old. They're not exactly everywhere.
No, I mean, look, if you like Amanda's art, it's the greatest book in the world, right? It's so much fun. If you like Mark Waid's storytelling, it is a great book. It's Mark on Fire. It's just fun and crazy, right? So we added that on there. I added because I have some left of the Hunters. That was a Western I did with Chad Hardin, and that is a beautiful Bill Sienkiewicz cover there.
It is
on there, and it's actually printed on. It's a spot varnished velvet cover. It's like a satin cover with a spot varnish on it. When you see the original book, it's anyway. That was one of the Kickstarters that when I ended it, I got so many people asking me, "Hey, do you have the Hunters #1 for sale? Do you have?" I missed that Kickstarter. I didn't see it. Meanwhile, I posted like 1,000 times, right? So I wanted to make that available. And then if we go down one, we have. So this is a book. We did a deal with DC. They let us reprint Power Girl #1.
Huh.
And that's the book me and Justin and Amanda did. And Amanda did a brand new wraparound cover, that's a wraparound cover. That's just the front is obviously the right side. And we had them printed so the white part behind Power Girl is done with like illustration paper.
Ah.
So if anybody buys it, they can draw it, or if they bring it to a show, Amanda usually does a quick sketch in it for you. And
that's a nice add-on incentive.
Yeah, so we the only people that have these. And
me and Mike, right?
And you and Mike will get one in the mail, yes.
All right. And, so how do the add-on? How do the add-ons perform for you?
So it's interesting because we'll have 10 add-ons, let's say, and people order all 10 in crazy, weird ways. Things I never think people are gonna buy, they buy like crazy. Things I think are such a steal, they get a couple. But we always do pretty well because we make them so they're not too expensive. We make it, hey man, if you're gonna ship it anyway, it's only $2 more per book to ship it, So we add in the package. It depends what kind of shopping mood people are in when they're buying the stuff. Sometimes we get people that do a ton of add-ons. We're sending out package. We have to get a box for it because they ordered like 15 things on the add-ons. Sometimes it's just one or two more. A lot of times it's stuff they missed and they just want to have. And then a lot of people tell me they like to just get packages in the mail and they love to get a bunch of books.
Look, when you sent these out, these each had extra goodies in them.
Yeah.
Like surprises, like things I wasn't expecting, like surprise and delight of little stickers and add-ons to me are nice,
Yeah, we're not the age that, buddy. We're the three of us. We're not at the age where we're sitting around. I need stickers, But I get people love stickers. Yeah, the spot varnish, the printing. So Patrick and I babysit the printing because it's so important for us that that's a spot varnish. So you see only parts of the cover are varnished, and it's got a nice. I mean, the paper quality inside is terrific, right?
No, it is. It's terrific, and I'm one of your built-in audience for Painkiller Jane. So for me, when this came out, or Amanda's art book, when that came out, it was a no-brainer for me.
Whereas I mean, Amanda's art book, we so I'm frustrated because I see all these art books come out, and they're just books of drawings, and I'm like, where's the writing? Where's the person commenting? Where's the other creators talking about the? So when we did Amanda's book, I said, I want this so you sit there and read it for a day or a day and a half, or, I don't want you to read it in 5 minutes. I want you to,
This is my sealed edition. I have 2 copies. I have 2 copies. I have one that I keep sealed and one that I opened. It's a great book. It is. This should be an add-on. This is a great add-on.
But I mean, it's a book that my whole goal was, if you're going to have, so recently a artist friend of mine had an art book he did, and I backed it and I got it. And there wasn't a picture of him in the book. There wasn't him talking about his career. There wasn't commentary on anything. It was just every page of art and then the cover close. And I was like, oh my God, what if that's the only book that comes out in his life about him? And I learned nothing from this book except there's a bunch of art. So when we do art books, I try to make it like all these different people talking about everything in the book. You know, quotes from everybody. And then, of course, in that book, Amanda talks about each piece too, right? Her commentary, of course, is important.
It's above and beyond. I mean, you exceed expectations. The package, and that's one of the things that I think is really important that we don't talk about is you're only as good as your last Kickstarter. So
Right.
if people felt gypped by the last one, they're not going to go for the next.
So I ask every year, I ask the people at Kickstarter, can they put a rating on the Kickstarter so people can rate me as a Kickstarter? Somebody says, can I get a 3-star, 4-star, 2-star? Can I get a rating on mine? Like if I screw up, I expect people to give me a crappy rating, right? Like, please give us a rating so when people look, because I want to search out the 5-star ones. I want to search out the guys that deliver and everybody's so happy because I fall into that category. I don't have a customer that's ever been ripped off or didn't get their package. And the one customer I had in New Zealand, we went back and forth for a while, and it was hysterical because we both wanted to make sure the other one was happy, and it was just. But I focus on everybody has to get everything, and I have people 2 years later telling me, I never got my book, and we go back and I look and I said, you never filled out your form. I don't know what your address is. I don't know where was I going to ship it. And we fulfill it, Patrick and I, we go, but we fulfill it, right? We've had them go back like 4 or 5 years, where they're just like, I never got my book, and I'm just like, and you never, you never filled out your form. Or the guy goes, oh, I did move though. I should have told you my new address, And we go search it in our office and find a copy and send it to the guy. Like we try our best because our customers are everything. We make sure they are happy. And we do, last campaign I did mystery boxes, and there was 30 of them. And it killed me to do them. I mean, it took me a whole 2 weeks to do them.
People like them?
Oh my God, they sell out like that.
Yeah, okay. Everybody loves a mystery box.
Yes. And my mystery box, I sat there and I said, okay, we're charging $200 or $300 for the mystery box, right? So I tell Patrick, I'm like, it has to be worth absolutely the $200 or $300 out of the gate. So we fill the box with the $200 or $300, and I go, okay, now what can we add in this box? And we go around and
walk around the office.
I walk around my house. I put old T-shirts, rock T-shirts I had from the 70s. I put CDs and DVDs. I put, oh my God, the last one I had keychains and had weird stuff. Like I had a lot of weird stuff, right? And then I put in, like, I go through my comics and put a bunch of 70s comics, some 60s comics. I want the box, and it was a Painkiller J mystery box. So I actually bought already shot gun shells from 15 different guns, bags of them, and then I filled the boxes with gun shells. So that was the packing, not my car keys. No, Andrew. No. I would put a car key, but you'd have to figure out where the car is. But I went into a shooting range and asked them if I could buy bags of the bullets, and they said no. But I got a lot of strange looks, and then somebody hooked me up with a bunch of bullet shells I could buy.
I have no doubt that you would be able to find somebody who has bullet shells.
In Florida, you'd think I'd just trip over them when I left the house, but that's not the case. Anyway, so these mystery boxes, I loaded them down with weird, crazy stuff. I remember one time I went into a store and I said, I need like things I could fill a box with just to fill it at the top. And the guy said to me, he goes, I got a box of around 20 ET fingers you can slip on your finger and they light up. And I said, is the packaging included? And he goes, yeah, it's the packaging. And it looks like a giant thumb, but it's ET's finger. And the lights, so you just get a battery and the light works. And I'm like, I'll take them.
Sold.
And I remember I put them in a box and the guy's like, what the hell? And one guy on the kick on I think it was Instagram took a picture with his finger going, hey, I just backed Jimmy's. But I also, like, at one time I did all my rock shirts. I have all my 70s and 80s rock shirts. They were in horrible shape. Okay. I'll admit it was like, Springsteen and Paul McCartney and Wings and Stray Cats and Blondie. But people love that shit. I mean, of course, I washed it all. We folded and bagged it, put the little paper films. So the mystery boxes, we didn't do any yet on this. We're probably not going to do it because the last ones killed me. because I was so obsessed with them that I had, now remember, it was 50 boxes total. I had 50 of those post office boxes. They're like this big, and you can pack them, and whatever the weight is, they don't care, right? So
You can put a
I
brick in there.
packed
They
them.
don't care.
I packed them to the top with the weirdest crap, man. It was like, and people would write me, and one guy did like a Pink Floyd The Wall type thing where he took everything out and laid it on the ground, including the bullet shells, and took a picture of it, and it looked like an insane asylum, or it looks like a comic guy exploded and his brain went all over the place. But you have to go above and beyond in these campaigns. These are your guys that are supporting you. I worry about each one. I want to make sure everyone is happy. I wish I cared less, but I don't know how to do that. So I just keep doing what I do.
Well, I think, the proof is there. I'm going to just take a peek right now and see if you've probably funded by now. Let's just see.
If I did, I'm going to take that crack cocaine out of this drawer and smoke it. No,
yeah, you're $400 from completion. So
well, I know you guys have enough followers that they're going to just
our followers. But speaking of our followers, Jimmy, we're gonna show. So Mike, real quick, what have you learned so far tonight? Because Mike's in learning mode.
Okay.
Well, I've learned that I really should talk to you about if I'm ever going to start a Kickstarter, because you clearly go above and beyond. Like, you're not just going, here's the idea. It's a couple of, small pieces of art, and, oh, here's the basic story. You lay everything out, and for all your add-ons and, the tiers, it's all great stuff. Everything I saw there, I was like, I would like all of this.
That's fantastic, Mike.
Yeah, that's.
I expect to see your name on the.
Yes. Well, when you open up a Kickstarter, that's what you want to see. You don't just want to see a text box of, this is what it's about. Please support me.
Right. I mean, I used to make videos. Right. I used to do the videos, but I can't stand watching myself talk. I'm not like a fan of me. Right. And it's a problem. Like, Buddy is a fan of Buddy. Right? You love doing this. I am a little tougher on myself. I as I'm getting older, I'm like, I can't even stand my own voice. So I used to make the videos. Then I realized, well, I'm selling the concept. Let me just show what it is, and it's show and tell. I probably will do some videos. I need that, and you guys will understand it. I need that 20-year-old that can hold the camera right and then edit it for me. Like, I have so much work. I want to do these high production. Look, on Random Acts of Violence, I paid a guy to do a movie trailer. If you never saw that thing, this guy, he just said, I said, what will it cost you to make, if I give you this book, you read it, make me a movie trailer? And he says, I'll do it for $500 and I'll do it in one day.
Okay.
And if you want to go back and find that online, Buddy, I don't know you can do it live. You can literally play that trailer. It's amazing what somebody did for $500 in one day after reading the comic and going out and making a trailer of it. But it is online.
Well, let me.
It's not Random Acts of Violence. It's not. It's I'm sorry. It's Killing Time in America is the trailer for it. It's Killing Time in America.
Let me transition. Mike, you probably just noticed I changed the header of the site today, just because I didn't like the way the header looked. Jimmy, every week, Mike is posting almost every day now, new videos, clips of the show. So if you're not subscribed to the Comic Book School channel, you should. We're on all the socials, but we're going to start to trim some of those socials out. We don't want to be as many places. We're going to start to consolidate a little bit. But Mike edits every week, Jimmy. And
right.
He does trailers for us for
That's
all
awesome.
of our shows.
So yeah, I need a mic down the street that I go, Mike, hold this phone. Follow me while I walk through the comic shop talking about this thing.
Yeah, you could just film yourself doing it. I'll edit it all together for you.
That's good.
We'll get Buddy to do the voiceover and everything, or Buddy can actually film himself doing it, and then you can just voice over it all.
I could film Buddy looking in the mirror doing the voiceover. I think that'll nail it. Like, just like the end of Raging Bull with De Niro looking in the mirror doing his little speech. I think that would be great.
We can put that
guys,
together.
you fellas. That leaves us, Jimmy. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna tee it up the right way. So the way we do this is we get you. I'll cue you, and I'll say, what's one piece of advice that you wish you had had when you were starting to do Kickstarter? And think succinctly, because Mike gets us into about a 1.5 minute piece of advice that you wish you would receive.
I wish I knew. Okay.
That you wish you knew when you were starting your Kickstarter. So
was I supposed to know this in advance, or I'm coming up with it now?
Well, or not. I mean, it's fine. You can risk.
I'm just saying I probably forget if I told you already.
That's all right.
So I'll just come up with something.
All right. So Jimmy, what is one piece of advice you wish you had received earlier regarding crowdfunding?
So I was the only person I knew that was doing crowdfunding. And I wish I had a person that already did it that I can ask a question or two to, but I didn't have it at the time. So when I did my first 2 or 3, I had to learn the hard way of how to figure out things. So my piece of advice is, if you're starting a Kickstarter, you're doing it for the first time, oh my God, go to YouTube. There's hundreds of people talking about how to do Kickstarters and how to put them together and how to handle the shipping. So just put that question in your YouTube query. You just say, hey, I'm doing my first Kickstarter. What do I do? See what pops up. Spend an hour or two. Watch these videos. Listen to the people. Take notes. I wish I had that, and I wish I did that, but you guys have that now. You can even probably search my name in Kickstarter and shows like this, and you'll get some advice down the line. But I wish I had that at that point when I started.
See, you riffed it really well. You did a good job.
Yeah.
It came from the heart. You know this stuff, Mike. So now that you've done this, you're seeing this, Mike. Is this inspiring you? Do you feel like you can do this? I would
like to do this. Yes, I would probably just take all my stuff and just turn it over to Jimmy and say, "Here, Jimmy, you do it." Because
I have people do that to me once in a while, and I'm just like, "Oh my God, I have my own headaches." You know, it's like, "Here, take my children." You know, you got 2 already.
All right, but Jimmy, this year I'm working on the production of my comic.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it out on Kickstarter. I only done 1 Kickstarter. What's a good tip for me that I've only done 1?
Yeah,
I have this platform, you know.
You know, thank God you have the platform, right? Talk about your book before you put it out. Talk about it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Get people psyched up to see what you're doing. Share the artwork for your process of everything. Mm-hmm. Let them see that how hard you're working on it. And then when you're ready to do it, when it's time to come to it, I would say use your connections to get some covers that are, you know, some name people on the covers, and you know, try to think outside the box a little bit and say, step away from what you're doing and say, what would I want to see? Like, what would make me back this? What thing, or why do I care? Why should I care about this? Because if you can't answer those questions, you're probably not doing something right. You know, if you're doing a Kickstarter of a book or something, make sure you love what you're doing. I love this book. I think this book is great. Okay. When people back it, they can tell me different. They can read it and say, oh, it wasn't for me, or oh, this is the greatest thing ever, or whatever. But I have to be in love with it to sell it. Otherwise, nobody's going to get it from me. They can feel when you're not totally there. So make sure the product you're creating is the best product you can create. Because we don't know if there's an 18-wheeler, a Mack truck, or a bus that's going to knock us out next week. And we just want to make sure we get the stuff out the way we see it. So once your audience will feel the passion for your product if you get across clearly.
This is what you got to do, bud.
You got to get Mike to do a cover for your book right there. Maybe a cover of Mike on the grand piano with just like a very Monty Python thing, nothing on, but you know, playing the piano, looking over his shoulder.
The audience has spoken. Well, that's what we're going to need to do. Okay, Jimmy. So traditionally, when we do this show, we do a community spotlight because we indeed love the people who join our show.
Sure,
we're grateful to them. So today's community spotlight goes to Glenn Gatilla. Mike, you want to give Glenn the cheer? All right, I got it. So congratulations, Glenn. Glenn is always there with a joke, a comment, And sometimes it's spelled correctly and sometimes it's not, but he is always there for us. We love you, Glenn, and Glenn loves us. And he's got a name that Stan Lee would have made up. You know what I mean? With the
Gatilla.
Glenn Gatilla, GG.
Well, it's got the double G. It's got the double G going, right? So that's
he's
like
got the double G going.
You know,
so
Lois Lane, you know.
We love Glenn Gatilla, and he's been a big supporter. He should win every week. He's got a great comment, Jimmy. We know the show started when we see Glenn.
Right. Well, thank you, Glenn, for coming by tonight, man. Appreciate you being here.
And Jimmy, thank you for coming by. Love is short. We're gonna put Jimmy into the green room for a minute. Now, Jimmy, we might pull you out.
Okay.
So be careful not to pick your nose or anything. Mike, what did you put in the green room?
This is the nose I like, so I picked it already.
What food did you leave for Jimmy?
I just put a box of Cheerios because I figured, that was easy to get in there.
Oh,
you have the Cheerios, Jimmy? Do you have the Cheerios there?
Should I have them here?
Should you? Well, you should. I think Mike left them there for you. So let me put you in the green room.
Let me wait. Let me see. All right. It's a giant box, Mike.
Yeah, well,
Oh, dude, thank you for putting the clip in. They go bad really quick.
I had to try not to make sure they weren't poisoned.
No, this is amazing, Mike. Thank you so much. It's like I feel like I owe you something for doing this. Why is there cash in here? I don't understand.
Only for our special guests.
What's going on? I'm not used to like. Oh, great! I'm gonna eat a tennis ball. What the hell, dude? What?
That is
anyway,
a mystery box.
I mean, I love Cheerios. I think since I was a kid.
It's like a mystery Cheerios box. There's lots of stuff in there.
Oh, it's a little wafer.
Yeah,
all those wafers, Mike. You really loaded Jimmy up with a lot of good stuff.
Well,
There's something in the bottom. A heart?
Oh, a little heart on. You got a little heart on the box.
That's so nice of you,
we love
man.
Jimmy.
How did you get all this stuff in here, though?
It's kind of like the post office boxes. You can just cram anything you want in there.
How the hell did you get a shoe in here? Is the other one in here? There's only one shoe. What? I don't understand that you're thinking.
Mike, you went above and beyond. Mike left me some treats today too, Jimmy. In the green room, he left me this bag of pop.
The Costco version.
Mike
that's so cool.
Perform better with sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, Posca markers. I can use those. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I think there's one more thing in the bottom.
One more thing?
Here.
Yeah, there's some. I put something really, really deep down in there.
I got it.
Oh, what is that?
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Oh, the Art Adams sketchbook. That's a.
It'd be like a really cool thing, Mike. If you got him to sign it to me, that would be cool.
Yep. Just keep looking. There it is.
Oh, look at that.
Dude,
I was the one that signed it, but we'll let you believe
that. Hey, don't ruin the illusion. Thank God that's all in here. That's all that's in here.
Yeah. That was it. And that's it for our show tonight, everybody. Thanks again for coming. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Mike, put on our play-out music. You got our play-out music?
Yes, I do. Yes,
we're here every Tuesday. Jimmy Palmiotti, thank you so much. Good luck on your Kickstarter.
Thank you, guys.
And thanks, everybody. And congratulations to Glenn Gatilla. You got next Tuesday. Good night, everybody.